Laura Kinney, also known as Wolverine, strikes a dynamic pose, her claws extended and shimmering with a bright, almost blinding light against the red backdrop. Her iconic yellow and black suit is striking as she lunges forward, teeth bared in a fierce snarl. Her dark hair flows behind her, adding to the sense of motion. We open in Dubai at night, where Laura is clinging to the side of a building, her claws scraping against the glass. She thinks to herself about her origins, crafted as a weapon by the facility, using DNA from Logan, the first Wolverine, and how she inherited his healing factor and his claws. She recalls being a perfect assassin for a time, but escaped to a different kind of hell. The X-Men gave her a home, and she remembers the loss of Krakoa, a safe haven for mutants, and how most now have no one to rely on. She knows she can't save them all, but with a fierce glint in her eye, she is determined to try, as we zoom out to see her tiny figure scaling the vast skyscraper. The scene shifts to New York City 3 days earlier, where Laura is walking with her friends, Sophie and Kamala. Laura is observing Sophie, who seems surprisingly unbothered by the recent events at Krakoa. She wonders if Sophie has mind-wiped herself to cope. Kamala, on the other hand, is always optimistic, and Laura envies her for that, at least sometimes. Laura admits that even when she tries to relax with her friends, she's constantly vigilant as she's reminded of the horrors of the world. As they walk past the treehouse, once a haven for mutants, now a memorial to those lost, Laura can sense another mutant nearby, feeling her fear. The mutant Laura sensed reveals herself, a young woman with blue skin and white hair. She's scared and tries to flee, not wanting any trouble. Sophie reassures her, telling her they won't hurt her. Laura muses that Sophie, Kamala, and she can pass for human, but the other mutant can't. Kamala tries to connect with her, but Laura scolds her that not everyone is comfortable with mutants suddenly appearing. Laura reflects on how death wasn't always permanent on Krakoa, how they've all been resurrected, even herself. She rests her hand on the tree, wondering what the dead would say if they could speak. Sophie says she's famished and asks if Laura wants to get some food, but Laura declines, stating that she'll catch up with them later. Laura stays behind, noticing something behind a knot in the tree's bark. She uses a claw to carefully cut around it and find hidden metallic envelopes. She examines one, noting that the mutant they met earlier placed it there, and that it still carries her scent. Laura opens one of the envelopes, discovering a picture of a young mutant with blue skin named Ivan. A letter explains that a woman named Emery and her brother, Ivan, were taken from their home in Moldova. Emery doesn't have any special mutant powers, but says Ivan can make you feel things. They were deemed valuable, and Ivan was taken to Dubai. Laura, visibly upset, thinks to herself that no one should be held against their will and used for someone else's pleasure, something she knows all too well. She vows not to let someone else go through that and slams her fist into the tree as she decides she's packing for a trip. 16 hours later, Laura is in a busy airport in Dubai, musing that every city has parts where polite folks don't go, where she hopes to find some info. As she's walking, a blonde woman approaches her, asking if she's there for refuge. Laura asks who mentioned mutants, and the woman introduces herself as Parley, stating that she runs Oasis, a safe place for mutants. She explains her ability is to recognize other mutants, telling Laura she can see others like her. Laura, skeptical, asks what Parley's angle is and who pays for the Oasis. Parley says they have a benefactor who funds their work, a concept Laura finds sketchy. Parley tries to convince her that every mutant needs a helping hand these days, but Laura replies that she doesn't. Parley reveals she never went to Krakoa, but wished she had. Because she appears human, she was afraid to out herself, and when she finally got the courage, it was too late. She explains she created Oasis out of a guilty conscience. Laura asks if Parley has seen Ivan, showing her his picture, but Parley says she doesn't recognize him. Laura says, "Thanks for the helping hand," then asks Parley her name. Parley tells her and Laura asks what she needs, to which Laura replies that she needs her to take her to the other side, where the real nasty ones hang out. She states she's there to save mutants too, but that her way can be messy. Later, Laura and Parley arrive at the Delta Disco. Laura notes Parley wasn't keen on coming, since she'd heard rumors that some missing mutants were last seen there. Parley has tried to be respectful by referring the place to her police friend first. Laura observes that while the place looks like a legitimate club, the mutant patrons may be there willingly, but they're still being exploited for their gifts. Laura notices a man with long, dark hair walking towards an exit and wonders where he is headed. Laura tracks the man to an alley where he prepares to take a drug, noting that it will make it easier to take someone down. Laura appears on the roof above him, claws extended, yelling "bastard," as she dives down to attack him, completely ruining the element of surprise. Laura is surprised to discover the man is a mutant as he grabs her midair, his hand enlarging to an enormous size. He shouts, "Gotcha!" She struggles in his grip, noting that even with her adamantium bones, he's still crushing her. She manages to use her claws to slice into his hand, making him yell out in pain. He screams at her, calling her a little bee. Laura slashes at the man, drawing blood and making him fall to the ground. He yells that he's gonna kill her, but Laura manages to get the upper hand, choking him as she wrestles him to the ground. She states that it wasn't quite as easy as she would have liked, but it's time for some answers. Laura whacks the man's head against the wall to get his attention. She shows him a picture of Ivan and asks if he's seen him, and the man confirms that he has, stating that Ivan is one of the special ones. He tells her that Ivan lives with the madam, who keeps the high-value merchandise at the Burge, saying mutants like him have got the goods, and that Laura knows what he means. Laura is disgusted, stating that they aren't merchandise, they are people, and asks how as a mutant he could be a part of this. He responds that the world is going to hell, but he's going to get his. Laura punches him in the face, declaring that he deserves worse, but she can't waste her time there anymore. The scene shows the Burj Khalifa, where Laura is headed. She gave Parley the intel and she's calling her cop friend to meet her, but Laura decides she won't wait for him, noting that no one can force help on someone, they have to ask for it. She wonders if these mutants even know how to ask for help. Laura changes into her Wolverine uniform, stating that at least with Logan in Canada, she has access to his safe houses, and the old uniforms come in handy. She thinks to herself that the world is more complicated than she thinks. A new panel shows Laura now dressed as Wolverine facing two men with guns, remarking that they are more humans than their guns, and sniffs the air, stating that this will be fun. Laura, as Wolverine, battles her way up the Burj Khalifa in a series of circular panels, each showing a brutal attack. She punches, kicks and claws her way through the security team, stating that there's only 20 more floors to go. The scene shifts to the 142nd floor, the Madam's Suite, where a red-haired woman is entertaining a group. She asks if everyone is having a good time and tells a young, blue-skinned man named Ivan that he's been given money to experience his gifts. A voice coming from off-screen states that Ivan should not disappoint them, causing the woman to crush a glass in her hand, while a blue-skinned woman named Cybele says that she has bottled all the sweat that Ivan produced, and they can turn up the heat to make more. Suddenly, there is a thump, and the madam, a woman with purple hair, states that it's fine and everyone should get back to their canoodling. Laura smashes through the doorway of the madam's suite. She tells the red-haired woman that she saw her on Krakoa, asking how she could do this, hurting other mutants. The woman introduces herself as Cybele, stating that she was just another random mutant resurrected to fill up the island. She tells Laura that she and the Morlocks were slaughtered by the Marauders, and the heroes let it happen, and that when she was brought back, she swore she'd never be a victim again, and that now she's on top, and she intends to stay that way. Cybele yells to have her gotten out of there, and a green, sticky goo is shot at Laura's face, causing her to scream in pain. Laura is blinded and in pain from Cybele's acid, but states she can still smell his crappy cologne. She manages to punch a man in the arm, noting that it won't kill him, but it should hurt. He says that even he doesn't heal that fast. Laura's eyesight begins to return, and she hears someone say her name, Sonova, as she begins to fall backwards, and the panel zooms out. The scene focuses on Ivan as Cybele attempts to grab him, yelling that he's coming with her. He screams no. The woman with the damaged face says leave him be, Cybele, and Cybele tells her to let go unless she wants another acid burn. Laura delivers a kick to the woman, stating she's not getting away. She yells no, as she goes to attack another mutant with a purple face, noting that she's got to heal faster as he tells her to back off, X-Man. Cybele tells Ivan that his happy little sweat won't work on her, kid. She pushes the elevator button, declaring that this is an express route, and Laura dives into the open elevator shaft behind her, yelling damn safety shield. She states she's got to beat them to the lobby, and realizes that the only way down faster is to go straight through the window, shattering it as she leaps from the building. 5 minutes later, Cybele is attempting to keep Ivan in the lobby, and he yells, "Let me go." Laura appears and orders him to let Ivan go, noting that he said to let him go, and kicks Cybele. Cybele responds with arg. Laura remembers that Ivan made her feel happy, even euphoric, but that she knew it wasn't real. Laura tells Cybele that this kid has suffered enough, and that she shouldn't make her kill Cybele in front of him. Ivan says thank you to Laura, and Laura tells him that it's okay that he's okay, understanding that making people feel good was his mutant gift. She thinks to herself that saving mutants is hers. A little while later, Laura, Parley, Ivan, and the purple-faced mutant are at the oasis, where Parley's cop friend has arrived. Parley tells them that all of them are welcome at Oasis, mutant and human alike. Laura says she hopes some of the others take her up on the offer. Laura states that Parley knew that there were just as many abusive mutants as there were humans, and that Parley says that mutants aren't perfect and humans aren't always to blame, but that Laura's fight is still important. Cybele tells Laura that she's pissing off the wrong kind of people, and that she better watch her back, saying anyone who hurts mutants, Cybele included, are the wrong kind of people. Ivan asks if they can go home now, and Laura promises they'll get him back to Emery soon. Laura asks Parley if she will ensure that all their friends are taken care of, even the humans, and Parley assures her that she will, adding that she misjudged Laura, and that Laura is doing good work here. Parley suggests Laura sets up an oasis in New York, which Laura considers, and Parley tells Laura to stay safe. Back at the treehouse, Emery is kneeling, near the memorial dedicated to those who paid the ultimate price to fight fascism, stating that she hopes someone heard her prayer. She notes that she knows she's not saving the world, but she can save one life at a time. She hears someone call her name and is reunited with Ivan. Emery states that she doesn't know what to say, but Kamala tells her that Laura's a hero and that they were happy to help. Laura notes that Sophie and Kamala were kind enough to handle the reunion, and that maybe now that they're together, Emery and Ivan can get their lives back on track. Laura, as Wolverine, leaps across rooftops in New York City, musing that the night isn't over for her, and that the hollow tree knot gave her more than just pleas for help, and that there were a few tips mixed in too. She thinks it might be someone who feels helpless trying to fix a problem on their own, or someone trying to make up for the sins of their past. Either way, she notes that the word is that there's a weapons shipment coming into Pier 87 tonight, and she double-checked with a few roughnecks to make sure the intel was sound. She adds that Pier 87 is in Hell's Kitchen. She states she doesn't see or hear her, but smells lavender and jasmine. She hears a voice say, "I thought you'd come." Laura faces off against a woman in a red Daredevil suit, wielding sais, who says that Hell's Kitchen is Daredevil territory. The issue concludes with a preview of the next chapter, The Devil in Me, Part 1. Thanks for tuning in. Stay curious, stay awesome, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more amazing content.